What is up, dudes and dads, and all of my beautiful people and what's Bloody Nux here, aka the Gothic Gamer, back with another wonderful interview here live from PAX East. If y'all can't see here, we are in front of the Deathbound booth, a game that I am so excited for here. And we have a friend that we actually may have seen in the past, is our friend Sean from when we were back at PAX East 2022. How you doing, Sean?
It's been a while. First time you saw us was with the Kangaroo. A little bit different now. But,
little bit different going from a cute platformer.
Yeah. I mean, back then we were a developer, and now we're a publisher. So I guess a lot has changed.
A lot has changed, and lets y'all know how things can change within 2 years. Going from publishing your own game and developing, and now helping with 3 or 4 other projects.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. Obviously we have Deathbound. That's well known now for us, but we have something else coming later on in the year. It's gonna be tiring. But, it's fun.
It's always fun, and that's the beauty of what we do, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Now, for those who don't know what Deathbound is, it is an upcoming, and you can currently play the demo, Souls-like game that is actually very interesting when I played through, because it's not focused on a single character building out the traditional way, right?
Yeah.
It is focused now on a party. You actually are able to switch between 4 different characters at a time.
Yep.
Of course, there are more than that, as they showed. And those characters each have very different play styles, filling in for the different kind of classes, if you will.
So we don't really have archetypes in the typical sense. As you said, we don't really have this ability where you're one character and you're changing your weapons and you're changing your armor. You're actually switching between characters, and that's characters with specific play styles, but they also have history. They're fully fleshed out characters. They have allies, they have rivals, and they're fully aware that they're dead. And they're not particularly happy about it. In fact, they're mostly confused. And that kind of builds in this party system, as you said. You'll be able to choose from a lot of different, I guess, characters or essences, if you'd like. And you can switch between them on the fly. You can build your party how you want. And there's a whole talent tree around each of them, and also a passive one. And then they also have perks. So it's pretty expansive. We're really trying to do something different with the Souls-like genre. You know, it's a very, very populated genre. There's some big hitters out there. We're not trying to be the next Elden Ring. I have to make that clear. We're not trying to dethrone the kings. We're simply just trying to give you something different that hopefully invites new players in while also keeping veterans more than challenged.
And that's wonderful to do. I was like, while the genre has grown so much because of, as you said, what the progenitors, the godfathers, the kings of the genre have done, there's so many more games that have come out within that genre, and it's always great to see the very different ones that come out to try and make things feel unique, and how there's so ways to still change up that formula. It doesn't have to be the same tried and true every time.
Exactly. I mean, you've seen smaller hits like Salt and Sanctuary. That started off as a 2-man team, and that's became its own thing. It's got a sequel now.
Yes.
You've seen big IPs even adopt the genre, like with the Star Wars games.
Yes.
And then you've seen reboots of people that try to cash in on the genre a little bit early on with Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah.
It really is just the genre within itself, to the point where if you want to try and get entry point, there is something. And now you have something else if you're a bit intimidated by the larger games.
Exactly. And I was like, and they're with those here, even with some larger games, trying to refresh in the IP, like you mentioned, Star Wars. We've played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. Really wonderful refresh into it, making that genre feel accessible with its difficulty scaling, the still ability to make you feel powerful and still have that in-depth RPG feel that you would want from the genre.
Exactly. For what we've done with Deathbound, you might see some influence from CRPGs, especially in the way the party system is built, but mostly with the talent system. So if you want to make the game easy and cheese it, that's absolutely fine. We really don't care. Cheese it. Make it as easy as you want. If you want to make it as hard as you want and try and have different setups that make you challenge yourself, that's fine.
Yeah.
The party system itself, depending on which faction you have in there, because there's 2 factions. It's the Church of Life, the Church of Death, and the Cult of Life. They'll interact with each other, not just in terms of speaking, but also tangibly the character. So you'll get debuffs if you have characters from opposing factions matched up, and you'll get buffs if they're the same faction. that doesn't mean that you should ignore those debuffs, because you can actually create a more potent build.
Exactly.
It's all risk and reward.
It is. And when I was actually playing through the demo, I actually discovered that there was actually some very interesting debuffs and rivalries between some of the characters that actually played out very interesting. Like there was one that's like you lose 20% defense, but you gain plus 30% to critical hit damage.
Yeah.
And then I use another build where the allies were just like, hey, plus 20 defense. I'm just like, okay, well, I offset the debuff, and now I'm using that debuff to give me something even stronger. So it really does have a lot of depth on how you arrange the characters, because yes, you can go all buffs just by using everyone who's allies, but kind of playing into that risk-reward system actually made some very interesting, strong builds that you can do.
Exactly. We're not saying that it's a dynamic difficulty. Obviously, accessibility and difficulty has been really improved recently. Some good examples, not necessarily from Souls-like, but Sea of Stars had a really nice aspect with the amulets.
Yes.
So you're not really feeling like you're cheating yourself out of an experience by clicking easy. It's similar to what we're doing. If you want to build and have a very simplistic build that's going to get you through the game, you can do that. And you're not going to lose anything. You're not going to miss out on the experience. You can seriously customize it how you want. And that's the way we want to approach it. And we want to make sure that you feel like you're getting the most out of the game without sacrificing the experience, or, even feeling bad. We don't want you to feel ashamed that you're trying an easier build. That doesn't exist in this world. It's a game. We want you to play it. It's a game that is very specifically for the Souls-like genre, but it's a great entry point.
Yeah, and there you go. For those who may be a bit intimidated by the genre, this will give you a chance to be able to jump in with no worries. There's plenty of ways for you to access the content and be able to play the game, and I love that. I love when they make it accessible for those who may not be the most in tuned or comfortable with that genre. It allows so much more flexibility and opportunities.
It allows the players to grow with it.
Yeah.
Like if you feel comfortable and you feel like, okay, maybe I should step up the challenge a bit more. No problem, you can do that. You can change everything on the fly. Just go and reset your talents. We don't want to lock things off from people.
There you go. I was like, and I love that. And like you mentioned that there's two factions and each character's fleshed out. I noticed that when I was playing through the demo myself, is that each character has a very distinct background, a very distinct personality, and not only that, they're very interesting in their history because you can see a lot of the real life influences and the backgrounds. Like one of the characters, he's a inquisitor of sorts for the church, and then you have a character who very much reminded me of a lot of African tribal warriors, and especially for those who may be fans of Marvel comics and stuff like that, very much reminded me of the Dora Milaje from Black Panther. I was like, a spear woman who's very by the book, very orderly, but very strong, very heavy distance fighter. I love that. So you see those different personalities and histories kind of play into the game.
A lot of the influence, because the development team is from Brazil, Trialforge, and they've built a world that is influenced by their environment. So you won't find something that they're talking about that they don't know from personal experience. That's why we have things like the Capoeira fight on Mandili. Obviously, some of the characters are a little bit more stronger in their preferences. So Theron, for example, if you are kind of into Warhammer 40k, you might find some similarities with the zealous nature of him.
Yep.
And this is the guy that was so dedicated to his religious pursuits that when he saw his father, who was a heretic, and you'll see this in the demo, he puts him on a pyre and sets him on fire, right?
Yep.
And then you'll find other people in the cult of life, the Church of Death, who aren't necessarily, we'll say, dedicated to that cause, but it's more a circumstantial benefit to them. So this isn't a case of good versus evil and that's it. It really is morality at its greatest, and who you kind of think is a bad guy is more about how that character's developed rather than being presented to you as a bad guy or a good guy.
Yeah, and when you mentioned Theron, I was like, that's what I felt. When you see his background, seeing him from a young child to where he was, you're like, okay, I can understand why he's so zealous about his religion compared to some of the others who are just like, yeah, I'm here because I was forced to, because our tribe was taken over and they treated us as lower class citizens or basically slaves.
So we're paid a lot of gold.
Exactly. It's just like, it's one of those things that every little bit of that circumstance that would come into that nature plays out.
Yeah. That's the exact approach you're trying to have. we really want to try and build a game that is narratively focused. Traditional Souls-like, they're a bit more, we'll say, open for interpretation, and we still have aspects of that, but for the most part, you're going to get a narrative experience with characters. Every time you find a new character, you'll get an experience of their background and what made them. It's more of an explanation of their past and how it's made their present, rather than just a history lesson.
Okay, very much interesting. And now, do y'all have a time frame on when the game may potentially come out? What platforms are y'all aiming for?
So we don't have a specific timeline just yet. We're hoping this year. Obviously, there's a lot been going on. There's certain games with DLCs coming out that I think most of the industry is very wary of.
Yes, very much so.
On platforms, currently it's just PC only, and that's going to be on Steam. It's going to be an Epic and GOG. So you're covered. If you want to have your Steam library, if you want a DRM free copy, you've got your GOG version.
Well, there you go. For anyone who wants to get their hands on it, you'll be able to get it on multiple platforms on PC. So be looking out for that here. And I do want to thank you so much for catching up with us again, Sean. It was great to see y'all. And make sure y'all guys go and check out Deathbound and follow them on all the socials. Where can they find the socials at?
You can find us on Twitter, Deathbound Game, same with TikTok. And also, if you follow us on Facebook, same thing. And Steam, if you wish list to follow us on Steam, you'll get just as much updates on there. Usually we do some larger stuff with development, some of the processes behind the game, and some of the dev interviews as well. So depends how much you want to know, you can go and find it.
Well, there you go, guys. So I want to thank you again for taking the time to talk with us about Deathbound. And of course, guys, if y'all haven't already, make sure y'all follow and subscribe to the channel so that way y'all can keep up with all the content that we have coming here from y'all for PAX. So we'll see you on the next one. Till then, peace out and check you later, everyone.